Maya was a bright and cheerful teenager. She had always loved flying. For her, airplanes meant adventure, new places, and exciting experiences. Today was special because she was going on a trip with her family. They planned to visit a city far away, and Maya was looking forward to it. She packed her bag carefully, making sure she had everything she needed for the journey. Her parents had helped her get everything ready the night before, and now it was time to go. At the airport, the morning was busy. People were walking fast, with their suitcases, checking screens for flight information, and saying goodbyes or hellos. Maya held her father's hand tightly. He was a tall man with a kind smile. Her mother was nearby, smiling and chatting softly. Everything felt normal and calm. Maya's excitement grew as they moved closer to their gate. When the announcement came for boarding, Maya was one of the first to step onto the plane. The flight attendants greeted the passengers warmly. Maya found her seat near the window and carefully placed her small bag under the seat in front of her. She looked out the window and saw the runway, the other planes, and the big blue sky. It was a perfect day for flying. But after everyone had settled in, something unexpected happened. The pilot's voice came over the loudspeaker saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, we will have to delay our takeoff for a moment. There is a small issue we need to resolve." No one understood what the problem was. Some people looked at each other nervously. The flight attendants walked quietly down the aisle. Suddenly, a flight attendant stopped in front of Maya's seat. She looked at Maya and said softly, "Excuse me, ma'am, we need you to come with us." Maya was surprised. She didn't know why she was being asked to leave. "Why?" she asked politely, trying to stay calm. The flight attendant didn't give a clear answer. She just repeated, "Please come with us." Maya's heart started to beat faster. She looked around. Some passengers were watching quietly. Others whispered among themselves. Maya felt confused and a little scared. She stood up slowly and followed the flight attendants to the back of the plane. They asked her to wait near the door. Outside the plane, Maya's family was waiting. Her mother's face was worried. Her father's eyes showed concern. Maya tried to explain what had happened, but she didn't have many answers.
The pilot was
Talking to the flight crew inside, there was a feeling of tension in the air. Passengers inside the plane were restless. Some were unhappy about the delay. They didn't know why the flight could not take off. A few people quietly expressed discomfort with how Maya was being treated. She could hear whispers like, "Is this fair?" But no one spoke loudly. Maya wished she could disappear. She thought about all the times she had flown before and how easy it was. This time felt different. She felt singled out and treated unfairly. Her clothes were neat, her ticket was in order, and she had done nothing wrong. But still, here she was, being asked to leave the plane. The flight attendants spoke quietly among themselves. One of them looked at Maya with a hint of sympathy, but they said nothing to change the situation. Maya's feelings changed from confusion to sadness. She wanted to cry but held back her tears. She remembered what her parents had taught her, to be strong and respectful, even in hard times. Outside, her mother held her hand tightly. Her father was trying to speak with the airline staff, but no clear answers came. Maya's mind raced. She wondered if this was because of how she looked, or if it was just a big mistake. She had heard stories from friends about unfair treatment, but she never thought it would happen to her. As the minutes passed, the plane stayed still on the runway. The pilot's voice came on again. "We apologize for the inconvenience. Are working to resolve the issue." But Maya knew what the issue was. Her presence was the problem for the airline staff. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere changed. Some passengers showed sympathy. One elderly man quietly told the flight attendant, "That young lady did nothing wrong. This is not right." Others nodded but stayed silent. Maya felt both embarrassed and grateful for the small support. Maya's father, Dr. Thompson, was an important man. He worked with NASA as an aerospace engineer. He'd helped design some of the most advanced space machines in the world. People respected him for his knowledge and kindness. But at this moment, none of that seemed to matter. All that mattered was Maya's safety and dignity. As Maya stood outside, she watched the other passengers waiting inside the plane. Some looked at her with curiosity, some with pity. Maya wished she could tell them her story, explain how unfair this felt. She wanted to tell them that she was a normal teenager, just like anyone else, ready for an adventure. Suddenly, the doors of the plane opened again. People outside the gate were moving around. Maya's father appeared. He was wearing a blue NASA jacket, the kind that showed he was part of a special group of scientists and engineers. When the airline staff saw him, their faces changed. Dr. Thompson walked calmly toward the staff, holding Maya's hand, asked, "Can someone explain why my daughter was removed from the plane?" His voice was strong but polite. The staff looked nervous, exchanged glances. It was clear they had not expected someone like him to be involved. The pilot came out to speak with Dr. Thompson. The conversation was quiet but serious. Slowly, the airline staff admitted there had been a mistake. They said they were sorry for the trouble caused. Maya's father listened carefully. He wanted to make sure this would not happen again. Meanwhile, the passengers on the plane watched as Maya's family prepared to board again. Some clapped quietly, others smiled in support. Maya felt a mix of relief and pride. She was proud of her father for standing up for her and proud of herself for staying calm. The pilot made another announcement. "We apologize for the delay and any discomfort caused. We're ready to take off now." The plane's engines started to roar. Maya took her seat again, feeling stronger than before. As the plane lifted off the ground, Maya looked out of the window once more. This time, the sky felt like a place of hope and new beginnings. She knew that her story would not end here. It would be a story about courage, about fairness, and about never giving up. After Maya was asked to leave the plane, the situation became very serious. Outside the aircraft, her family waited nervously near the gate. Maya's mother stood quietly, holding a small bag tightly in her hands. Her eyes were full of worry, but also full of hope that everything would be okay soon. Maya's father, Dr. Thompson, paced slowly back and forth. He was thinking deeply, trying to understand what had happened and what to do next. Dr. Thompson was not just any man. He was a highly skilled aerospace engineer, working for NASA, the American Space Agency. Every day, he helped build and design machines that could travel to space. He had worked on important projects that many people admired. His blue NASA jacket was more than just clothing. It was a symbol of his hard work, intelligence, and dedication to science. Despite his busy and important job, Dr. Thompson was a humble and caring father. He loved Maya very much and always wanted what was best for her. Today, he felt a strong need to protect his daughter from what felt like unfair treatment. He knew that sometimes people make mistakes, but he also knew this felt different. This was about something deeper, something about respect and kindness. As he stood by the gate, the airport staff tried to explain what happened. He said there was confusion about Maya's ticket and identity. But Dr. Thompson listened carefully and knew that their story did not add up. Maya had her ID boarding pass, and everything was in order. There was no reason for her to be removed from the flight. Suddenly, Dr. Thompson noticed that some airline employees were avoiding eye contact. They spoke softly when he asked questions. This made him more certain that Maya was being treated unfairly because of her skin color. It was not the first time something like this had happened in the world, but it was painful to see it happen to his own daughter. While the adults talked quietly, Maya tried to stay calm. She remembered her mother's advice. Always stand tall. Speak kindly and show strength, even when things are hard. Maya took a deep breath and looked at the people around her. Some passengers waiting nearby were watching the scene with curious eyes. Some seemed upset about what was happening, but most were quiet. Then Dr. Thompson decided it was time to act. He walked calmly but confidently to the front of the crowd where the airline manager stood. His NASA jacket caught the attention of the staff. One woman recognized the logo and asked, "Are you with NASA?" Dr. Thompson nodded. This simple moment changed everything. The airline managers suddenly became more respectful. They realized that Dr. Thompson was a person of importance, an influence. They asked him to explain what had happened. Dr. Thompson told them clearly and politely that his daughter had done nothing wrong, and that the removal from the flight was a mistake. He asked for a proper explanation and a sincere apology. Meanwhile, Some passengers inside the plane started to notice the delay was much longer than usual. They wondered why the flight was not moving. One passenger, an elderly woman, spoke to a flight attendant quietly. "Is everything okay? Why is the young girl taken off the plane?" The flight attendant looked uncomfortable but said, "There was a small problem, ma'am. We are trying to fix it." Back at the gate, Dr. Thompson's calm but strong voice made the airline staff think again. They looked embarrassed and nervous. The pilot finally came out from the plane to speak with Dr. Thompson face to face. They talked in a low voice so only a few people could hear. Dr. Thompson asked the pilot, "Can you tell me exactly why my daughter was removed from the plane? I want to understand so this never happens again." The pilot hesitated, but then admitted it was a misunderstanding. "We thought there was a problem with her ticket. I also think some of the crew felt uncomfortable because of her race. That was wrong, and I am very sorry." Hearing these words, Dr. Thompson felt a mix of sadness and relief. Sadness because his daughter had faced unfair treatment. Relief because the pilot was honest and apologized. He knew this honesty was a small but important step toward change. Then, airline managers offered a public apology to Maya and her family. They promised to review their policies and train their staff better to avoid such mistakes in the future. Dr. Thompson thanked them, but also reminded them that actions speak louder than words. He said that true change would take time, effort, and respect. Outside, Maya's mother hugged her tightly. She whispered, "You were so brave, Maya. I am proud of you." Maya smiled softly and felt her mother's love wash away some of the hurt. Her father put his arm around both of them and said, "We will move forward together. Nothing can stop us." Meanwhile, inside the plane, passengers began to talk quietly among themselves. Some expressed support for Maya and her family. Young man said, "We should all stand against unfair treatment like this." Others nodded in agreement. The air was filled with a sense of awareness and hope. The pilot returned to the microphone and made another announcement. He said, "We apologize to all passengers for the delay and for the discomfort caused. We are ready to continue our journey now." The passengers clapped softly. Maya felt a small smile spread across her face. As Maya and her family boarded the plane again, the atmosphere felt different. There was a feeling of respect and support. Maya sat down by the window and looked outside at the clouds. About how sometimes life brings challenges, but with courage and family, those challenges could be faced and overcome. Dr. Thompson sat next to Maya and held her hand. He said gently, "Remember, Maya, no matter what happens, you are strong and valuable. People's mistakes and fears do not define you. We must always stand up for what is right." Maya nodded. She felt proud of her father and grateful for his love. She knew this experience would teach her important lessons about life, fairness, and kindness. She also hoped that sharing her story would help others who faced similar unfairness. As the plane took off into the bright blue sky, Maya looked forward to the future. She imagined a world where everyone was treated with respect, no matter their skin color or background. She dreamed of new adventures and new chances to show her true self. The journey was not only a flight to another city, but also a step toward hope, courage, and change. Maya's story was just beginning, and it promised to inspire many people to believe in fairness and kindness every day. After Maya and her family were allowed back on the plane, the mood inside slowly began to change. Passengers who had been quiet before now looked more thoughtful. Some smiled at Maya, offering small nods of support. She noticed the kindness in their eyes, and it helped her feel a little less alone. Even though the experience had been hard, she realized that many people cared about fairness and justice. Maya's father, Dr. Thompson, remained calm but firm. He knew this moment was important, not just for his family, but for many others who might face unfair treatment. He quietly spoke with some of the airline staff, explaining why it was important to treat every passenger with respect and dignity. His words were gentle but clear, and the staff listened carefully. The pilot, too, seemed different now. Earlier, he had seemed distant, but after the apology, he took a moment to speak directly to Maya and her family. He said, "I want to say, again, how sorry I am for what happened. We never want any of our passengers to feel uncomfortable or singled out. We will work hard to make sure this does not happen again." Hearing this, Maya felt a mix of emotions. She was grateful for the apology, but still carried the pain of the moment when she was removed. She thought about how difficult it was to be judged unfairly because of something she could not change. But she also understood that saying sorry was the first step toward healing. As the plane climbed higher into the sky, Maya leaned back in her seat and thought about what had happened. She remembered the flight attendants asking her to leave and how confused she felt. She thought about the passengers who whispered and the ones who showed support. Most of all, she thought about her father's calm strength. He had stood up for her without anger or shouting. Instead, he used respect and reason to change the situation. Maya's mother held her hand and said softly, "You were very brave today. Sometimes people don't see the full picture and make mistakes, but you showed everyone how to be strong." Maya smiled, feeling the warmth of her mother's love. She realized that family was her greatest support. The conversation inside the plane turned toward fairness and kindness. Some passengers shared stories of their own experiences with unfair treatment. One woman spoke about how she had faced discrimination in a different country, but found hope in small acts of kindness from strangers. Another man talked about the importance of standing together to make the world better. These stories made Maya feel connected to something bigger than herself. She understood that her experience was not just about one flight or one moment. It was part of a larger struggle that many people faced every day. But it was also a story of hope that with courage and respect, change was possible. Back at the airport, airline officials began making plans to improve their training programs. They wanted to teach their staff how to recognize and prevent bias. The company knew that trust had been damaged, and that they needed to work hard to rebuild it. Dr. Thompson was invited to help with the training because of his experience and calm approach. Maya was proud of her father for turning a difficult moment into an opportunity for good. She admired how he used his knowledge and kindness to help others understand the problem. It was a lesson she wanted to remember always. During the flight, Maya looked out the window at the clouds and blue sky. She thought about the future and all the things she wanted to do. She dreamed of becoming a scientist or an engineer like her father. She wanted to build things that would help people and make the world a better place. The trip ahead was no longer just a vacation. It was a chance for Maya to grow stronger and more confident. She knew there would be challenges ahead, but she felt ready to face them. As the plane began its journey, Maya and her family talked quietly about their plans. They spoke about visiting new places, meeting new people, and learning new things. Maya's heart was full of hope and excitement once again. The story of Maya's experience spread beyond the flight. People on social media shared the news, supporting Maya and her family. Many spoke out against unfair treatment and called for kindness and respect in all places. The airline faced pressure to make real changes, and the conversation about fairness grew louder. Maya's story became a symbol for many people. It showed that even in hard moments, there was a chance to stand up for what is right. It reminded people that everyone deserves respect, no matter their background or where they come from. As the flight continued, Maya felt a new sense of pride. She was proud of who she was, proud of her family, and proud of the courage she had shown. She knew this was just the beginning of her journey, not only in travel, but in life. She looked at her parents and smiled. Together, they had turned a painful moment into one of strength and hope. And that was a lesson she would carry with her forever. Let me know when you want me to continue with part 4, or if you'd like me to adjust anything. As the plane continued flying, Maya sat quietly, thinking deeply about everything that had happened. She watched the clouds outside and felt the soft hum of the airplane's engines beneath her. It was hard to believe that just a little while ago she had been standing outside, unsure and hurt. Now she was back inside, safe with her family. But the experience had left a mark on her heart. Maya thought about the feeling of being singled out, and how that had made her feel small, even though she knew she was not. She remembered how some passengers had looked at her with sympathy, while others had whispered quietly. She wondered how many people had faced moments like this before, times when they were treated unfairly just because of their skin, color, or background. Her father, Dr. Thompson, noticed her thoughtful silence. He reached over and gently squeezed her hand. "It's okay to feel hurt," he said softly. "But remember, this moment doesn't define you. You are strong, and your story will help others." Maya looked up at him, feeling the love and strength in his words. It was comforting to know she was not alone. Maya's mother joined in, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "What happened today was wrong," she said, "but you taught us all a lesson in courage. You showed how to stay calm and kind even when things were hard." Maya smiled, feeling the warmth of her family's support. The family talked quietly about fairness and respect. Dr. Thompson explained how important it was for people to understand each other and to stand against unfair treatment. He said that sometimes people's fears and mistakes cause hurt, but education and kindness can change minds and hearts. Maya listened carefully. She realized that her experience was not just about one flight, but about something bigger. Way people treat each other every day. She thought about her school, her friends, and her community. She wondered how she could help make things better. Later, as the flight continued, the flight attendants brought snacks and drinks. Maya smiled politely and thanked them. Some of the crew members looked at her with respect, and Maya could feel the difference. She understood that change was slow but possible when people tried to be better. After the plane landed safely at their destination, Maya and her family walked out into the warm sunshine. The city was new and full of life. Maya's spirits lifted. As she saw the busy streets, colorful shops, and happy people, it felt like a fresh start. The family went to their hotel and settled in. Maya unpacked her bag and looked at the souvenirs she had brought for her friends. Wanted to share stories about her trip, including the hard parts and the good parts. She knew that honesty was important. That evening, Dr. Thompson sat with Maya and her mother. He talked about his work at NASA and how teamwork and respect were key to success. He said that just like in space missions, life required patience, understanding, and standing together. Maya listened with wide eyes, feeling inspired. In the days that followed, Maya explored the city with her parents. She visited museums, parks, and local markets. Everywhere she went, she met new people and learned new things. Her confidence grew with each experience. But in quiet moments, Maya still thought about the flight and what it meant. She knew that unfairness existed, but she also knew that she had a voice. She decided to use her voice to speak up for herself and others. At school, Maya shared her story with her classmates. She talked about how important it was to treat everyone with kindness and respect, no matter their differences. Her friends listened carefully and asked questions. Some admitted they had never thought much about these issues before. Maya's teachers supported her too. They said that learning about fairness and equality was important for everyone. Maya felt proud that her story was helping others understand and grow. Her parents were proud as well. They encouraged Maya to keep being brave and to never lose hope. They told her that change begins with small steps and every person can make a difference. Meanwhile, the airline company where Maya's experience happened was working hard to improve. They held meetings to teach their staff about fairness and respect. They invited Dr. Thompson to speak and share his thoughts on how to create a better environment for all passengers. The airline also made a promise to the public. They said they would review their policies and listen to their customers more carefully. They wanted to rebuild trust and show that they cared about every person's experience. News stories about Maya's experience spread on television and online. Many people praised Maya and her family for their courage. Some shared their own stories, creating a wave of conversation about respect and fairness. Maya felt happy knowing that her story was helping others. She understood that her experience, though painful, had become a reason for hope. It showed that kindness and courage could shine even in difficult times. One day, Dr. Thompson received a letter from the airline company. It thanked him and his family for their patience and for helping them see their mistakes. The letter said that the company was committed to being better, treating every passenger fairly. Maya read the letter with her parents. They smiled and hugged each other. It was a small but meaningful step. Maya looked out the window one evening, thinking about the future. She dreamed of a world where no one was judged by the color of their skin. A world where kindness was stronger than fear. A world where everyone had the chance to be themselves without worry. She felt hopeful and ready to keep moving forward. She knew the journey for fairness was long, but she was not afraid. She had her family, her friends, and her own strong heart. Maya's story was now more than just a memory of a difficult flight. It was a story of bravery, love, and the power to change. It was a story she would carry with her, always, and one she hoped would inspire others to stand up for what is right. After the incident in the flight, the story of Maya and her family began to spread. A passenger on the plane had quietly recorded part of what happened and shared it on social media. The video quickly gained attention. People all over the country saw it and felt many different emotions: anger, sadness, but also hope. Many understood how difficult it was for Maya to be removed from the plane without reason. Others admired the way her father stood up for her calmly and with respect. The story touched many hearts. People began to speak out against unfair treatment and racism. They talked about the importance of treating everyone with kindness and fairness, no matter their skin color or background. Many shared their own stories of facing unfairness and said that Maya's story gave them courage. The airline company felt the pressure. They knew that the public was watching closely. They quickly issued a public apology. In the apology, they said they were very sorry for the way Maya was treated. They promised to take steps to make sure this would not happen to anyone else. The airline said they would train their employees better to understand bias and how to respect every passenger. Dr. Thompson was invited to meet with the airline's leaders. They wanted his advice on how to make real changes. Dr. Thompson spoke honestly and kindly. He said that change was important, but that it would take time and effort. He asked them to listen carefully to all their customers and to work hard to build trust again. Maya's family also spoke to reporters and shared their feelings. They wanted people to know that fairness and respect were not just words but actions. Maya's mother said, "No child should ever feel scared or humiliated because of who they are." Maya added softly, "I want to help make sure this doesn't happen to others." Many organizations that work to fight discrimination offered support. They praised Maya and her family for their bravery. They also asked people to keep speaking up and to stand together for justice. In the weeks that followed, the airline company began changes. They created new training programs focused on fairness and respect. They also set up a system where passengers could report any unfair treatment easily. The company wanted to show that they were serious about making travel better for everyone. Airlines' actions received mixed reactions. Some people believed they were sincere and hopeful for real change. Others remained cautious and said they would watch closely to see if the company kept its promises. Maya's family understood this. They knew that real change was not easy and that it needed many voices working together. Meanwhile, Maya continued her journey with courage and hope. She returned to school and shared her experience in classes and clubs. She encouraged her friends to speak up against unfairness and to support each other. Maya felt proud to be a young leader for kindness and respect. Her father continued to inspire her. He shared stories from his work at NASA about teamwork, patience, and never giving up. Maya dreamed of following in his footsteps one day, building a future where everyone could be treated fairly and kindly. One afternoon, Maya received a letter from a group of students in another city. They wrote to thank her for sharing her story and said she had inspired them to be brave and kind. Maya smiled, feeling happy that her experience was helping others even far away. Her family celebrated these small victories, but stayed grounded. They knew that the fight for fairness was ongoing. They talked about how each person's story mattered and how every voice could bring change. Maya also learned the importance of forgiveness. She understood that some people might not know better or might be scared of change. She believed that teaching and kindness could open hearts and minds. The trip that had started with pain ended with hope. Maya's story became more than a moment on a flight. It became a message for many people that standing up calmly, with respect and courage, can make a difference. As Maya looked to the future, she felt ready to face whatever came next. She knew life might bring challenges, but she had learned the power of love, family, and standing up for what is right. Her experience showed the world that no matter who you are, you deserve respect. It reminded everyone that kindness and fairness are the true ways to move forward. And so, Maya's journey continued, filled with hope, strength, and the promise of a better tomorrow.